Hello, everyone. Welcome to the FMATalk Chronicles. Crazy day. We tried a little different thing with the intro. PG Tye is remote. He is somewhere.
I'm in Huntsville, Alabama.
And it's been a crazy day for both ends. I was telling PG Tye, I went got a phone call this weekend. Hey, you know that pond we were going to update? Yeah, we're coming tomorrow. Okay. Go, hey, what are you going to do? What do you want to do with the dirt? Oh, we'll take the dirt. Then I come out a couple hours later. It's the size of a Prius. I don't know what I'm going to do with that much dirt, but we'll work it out. So, hey, you did a camp this weekend.
We did. We had, a little over 20 people, I think, total. Day and a half of training, all the way into the dark, and starting out early in the next morning. So
nice.
It was good. We did some ranking. We covered all the everybody. We got a lot of great feedback. In fact, one young lady said it was the most fun she's had on a weekend for the last 3 years, and she's only 15, so that's like a chunk of her life.
You know, well, there you go. I saw some of the reviews, and I haven't seen anything negative out there. Obviously, you must have got rid of the bodies.
That's right. That's right. We got pigs out there. We're good.
Okay. All right. So people are commenting because I didn't go there.
Yeah, there we are.
Hey, there's Mr. Rich. And hello, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Gentlemen, I don't know who he's talking to, mate. Could that be us?
They're talking to each other.
Okay. I want to start off with something before we get into anything else. And there's just Mr. Jeremy, as usual. First of all, there have been some quasi-negative comments and interesting follow-ups about the show. And I just want to let you know, those who haven't offended yet, the wait will not be long. But we are not trying to do anything that is going to go to tick people off. We're trying to put stuff out there, and we're basing it on our information and our position on things. Ty and I don't agree on everything. When we started with Datu's Corner, I was talking about rank certification and whether it should expire, because that's the way I was brought up. And we still do that, but we've modified what we're doing, because in modern, rank was more, teaching credentials were more tied to your rank than it was any certificates. And we're going to be talking about that today. So if anyone disagrees with us, take a number. No, but if people we want guests on the show. So if someone would like to talk about some of the things we said, that maybe you disagree with some things and you'd like to, do a point counterpoint type scenario, and not a debate, but I mean, bring your stuff to the table, and who knows, we don't know which side may agree or disagree. We may come together in the middle. Who knows? But the biggest thing that we're talking about is Remy Praesus Modernis. And I knew Professor since I was 19 years old. He died when I was 35, 36. I knew him pretty much the entirety of my adult life. I had a different relationship than everyone else did with him. He had a unique relationship with everybody. And mine was a little different than others. And when we talk about things, we're talking about the experience, and I'm not trying to disagree with people, but I what frustrates me is when people have made comments about the art and they weren't around. They saw Remy a handful of times and they're telling me what the art's about. I'm like, no, and we're going to discuss this. And we're going to be one of the future ones we're going to talk about is how Professor what he did to spread the art. And I think that'll maybe put things in a little better context with maybe some of the places that I'm coming from and PG Tye. Like I said, I've got an advisory board in our organization. Ty is one of the members, and he'll tell you we don't always agree on what I'm thinking about. But someone has to make the final decision, and I make that final decision for the benefit of the organization. And I look at the pros and cons, and if the pros outweigh the cons, we pull the trigger. And I understand that if it gets to a point where people think that the cons outweigh the pros, they may leave, and everyone's got to do what they got to do. So we're looking at a bigger picture here. And one of the things when we talk about next week if we talk about seminar distribution or, the delivery systems professor used to get the material out there, one of the biggest things we have to do, and listen to me now, those who can have to get out there teaching seminars one way or another. And we will be talking about what really that means. And I hear too many people saying, I do teach seminars, but we'll talk about what we mean by that, something with a impact. But I digress. So let's see who else is hanging in here. So Larry said hello. So first of all, Chris and Rich are from Michigan. Jeremy is Northern Ontario. Larry is Durango, Colorado. I don't want to say California. That's where the Durango kid's from. At least that's what I heard on television. Mr. Wolf, how you doing, sir? All the way from Metro Columbus, Ohio, for lack of a better term. And we have Mr. Mason, another person from Northern Ontario, PG Craig, and Alvin Salamat. Hey, Alvin, where are you? Give us a shout out, because I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know are you here in the States or Canada or are you in the Philippines? We'd love to hear from you guys where you're from if we don't know who you are. So today's topic is rank and certification inside of modern unis. And like I said at the beginning, it's about Remy Praesus modern unis. So Ty, would you like to add to that instead of me dominating the conversation here?
Well, I don't have too much to add.
I mean, like the parameters of what we're talking about, like.
Right. Well, one of the things I want to reemphasize that definitely would be great to have some different people up here talking, because I think the dialogue is important, right? I think the discussion and exploration of any issues or viewpoints that is touching upon people is valued. You can't have a discussion without having openness to be able to discuss whatever the sides of issues are, and then everybody wins. And that goes with teaching, by the way, too, right? If everybody, even if they're, I don't care what your organization is with modern unis, so you're out there teaching, that is a win for Professor's Art. Okay, so
Alvin is in the Philippines, and I hope you're doing well, my friend. They got hit with a huge earthquake. Was it 6.8, 6.5, something like that? That's crazy numbers. Everyone that I've talked to that I know is doing fine over there. Evidently, I guess it's really cold too because there's a rainstorm and stuff like that. So, Mr. Rich. It's kind of in my what do you got there for me? It's kind of in the way of my camera's in the way here.
Oh, so it says Rich says, question: was there a correlation with the teaching certificates and rank? But I think we're definitely going to get to that.
Oh, Mata Guru Group.
Nice.
All right. Okay, so first of all, I want to start with something, and we did not prep for this. I had a virtual test for a bunch of people in Colorado. You and PG Chad were doing a camp this weekend with grading as well. Yep. Usually we try to, talk beforehand. PG Ty just got to the hotel recently and checked in with me. I've been teaching all day and dealing with my backyard being torn up. So we really haven't had time to prep for this when it comes to talking about things. So, and I don't want, and actually, I don't want to rehearse per se. I want to go over some things and make sure we hit all the points that we wanted to hit. So, because we're not going to agree on everything. So here, I'm going to start off right with this. There's a lot of titles and rank. Well, actually, how about we start with rank? How about we start with that? That is a controversial situation here. So I made a couple charts today. Go figure. And please excuse me, they are not to my liking because of well, I didn't get to do my. I stalled. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. It was my bad. I had time. You know how it is. You plan on doing stuff and then you don't. So let me pull open the screen here. I think I did an okay job as I move my head here. Okay, it's going to be like that, huh? You like this? All right. And let me get rid of our brand, our background. Okay, so this is the modern Arnis belting system, Remy Pracis Modern Arnis. And we're going to talk about. I left one particular belt out, but we'll talk about that as we go. Well, actually, no. There's things. So first of all, Professor had 3 different levels of ranking. You had the Antas, which were literally meant level. Those were your color belt, which was your Qs, all your white belts, really. Oh, shoot. I messed up. We'll talk about it. I just see the problem I made with my graphic. Then he had the Likas, which were the brown belts, and then we have the black belts. So most of this is right. So in Modern Arnis proper, we had the white belt, and this is Remy Pracis. I don't know what his brothers were doing, and if we're talking Modern Arnis, we need to talk about Remy as the founder of the art. So white belt was Antas 1. We'll go through the names in a moment. Yellow belt was the second level. This was first blue. There should be a second blue thing here. That would be second blue. Then there was first green, second green. Because of a typo when it was translated, a plain brown belt, then first, second, and third. So in modern, you go 1, 2, 3, versus a lot of them going 3, 2, 1. And then there are the black belts. And so when we look at this, okay, first of all, if you're Antas, okay, in order, Isa is 1, Delabat 2, Tatlo 3, Apat 4, Lima 5, Anim 6. These are the 6 color belts. And sometimes they wouldn't even put stripes on the belts. You just had a green belt. You're either high or low green.
Yep.
Brown belt was the same thing. We did stripes, so you either got no stripe. And brown belt had a blue border on it. Now, I don't know why it did. And if I was fortunate to have someone who could sew, that put my blue belt border, the blue border on it. So we would put, actually, I never put any stripes on it, but you would do 0 stripes. You would do 1 stripe, 2 stripes, 3 stripes for brown first, second, and third. So that's why it says Lika 0 through 3, because the title got incorporated. So you have basic brown, then first, second, and third. Then from there, you went into the Lacan or Dayang. So Lacan was for male and Dayang was female. And we had a 0 belt there as well. So somebody translated the title. So here are your white belts, 1 through 6. Here are your brown belts, 1, 2, 3. Here are your black belts, 1 through 10. And unfortunately, when they put the chart together, they included the title of brown and they included the title of black as a level. Professor never fixed it, but I was there when it was Terry Warham. He admitted it was Professor Terry and myself sitting there, and he goes, "Yeah, I made the mistake." Okay, but Remy kept it. Okay, so this is Modern Arnis. Now we're going to take it to another level here because I don't use that anymore per se. I want people to understand what I'm doing, so when you see this and there's different colors and stuff, we understand what's going on. So I use the same levels, more or less. I got rid of the plain brown. I got rid of the plain black. The only time I use Lacan Dayang without a suffix on there is when we have the leader of a group, like a new school owner showing all the black belt ability, but it's missing some of the curriculum. But hands down, could pass a black belt test minus a few bits and pieces here and there. You know, if it was like you have to pass on 100%, no, they wouldn't do it. But if you're giving credit for, you know, all the other things, they got it, you know. So that can only be given to the head of a school, the way we do things, you know, the head of the training group leader. So what I did is I still keep the same title. So the levels are Antas, Isa through Anim. And the first thing I did, because if you interact with the martial community, especially if you're doing tournaments, you need to be on the same page with them. And blue belt in some systems are quite high, just before brown belt. So I'd go to a tournament. So the first thing I did here was I took the first degree blue and turned it into orange. I took the second green and turned it into a purple. I got rid of the plain brown. So the Lika Isa is a brown belt. Lika Delawa is a red belt. And Lika Tatlo is a half red, half black belt. When you promote people, they like seeing a new belt. What do you think about that, Ty?
No, you're right. In fact, so a lot of times you didn't mention it. So sometimes what will happen on the two blues, you might skip one, right? Depending on how you got it at major camps and how much you worked, etc., how often you saw them. What we ended up doing to make sure that was used is we put an orange there as well. So it's kind of funny that you ended up doing the same thing independently. It's just a handy grouping. Plus, as you say, when you're doing tournaments, white, yellow, orange always go together. So you put a blue person in there, and everybody starts losing their minds.
I used to have to bring my grading chart with me all the time because I had to chart white belt to 10th degree black because I put in my rank curriculum. So someone would say something. What's this blue belt doing in the beginners division? And I pull out something from my lapel, hand it to this guy. He look, oh, okay, whatever. You know.
But I mean, these are colors and numbers. As long as the levels are the same, I think everybody would agree that it's pretty easy to follow.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you know, and here's the other thing. You bust your butt. You do all this work. And then you because obviously most people charge for their belt grading. And they charge you, $30, $50, $60. And what do you got? Wait for it. A piece of electrical tape that goes on your belt. Doesn't really go over too well. Okay, let me see here. What do you got? Funny.
And that's true. Chris is making a valid point.
Yeah. But if you go hang out in the Philippines, or listen, when I'm working out, you see me a lot of events. I don't wear a belt at all.
Yep. Our regular classes, everybody's in comfortable outdoor clothes. We're at a park, and we look like everybody else at the park, except we got sticks and we're hitting everybody.
Now, I own a commercial school, and I understand the differences of things that you have to do different things, and it helps retention and seeing the difference. Because, sometimes you need that visual thing. I mean, look at the military. They've got a stripe on the uniform or a bar on the uniform for every different rank. No different than that. So when people start making comments about it, I'm like, well, if it's good enough for the military, it's good enough for me, right? So.
Well, and ultimately, it doesn't matter. We were talking about that at the camp today. I mean, there's a lot of leeway. As long as the material's all covered, there's a lot of leeway what you want to do with the lower ranks, because guess what? In the grand scheme of things, if we're all sticking around, the color ranks are a snapshot in time. It's just a constantly changing whatever the heck it is.
And let's go in here. Who put the belts in the system? Remy.
Yep.
So, and he put that in there for a reason. Okay, so I'm going back and forth between two screens here. Orange and purple, different colors for the ranks.
It's handy. It makes it easy.
Yeah, you know what? I don't have to. Here's the other thing. I don't have to look at the end of the belt to see how many stripes they have. It's simple.
Or count.
Yeah, you're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're going to do, and this is what I do in the WMA. And what I'm going to do is one more. It's what we do for black belt. And this is actually, the funny thing is, Remy said something about this to me, and I got it later. I didn't get it when he told me. So this is what we use for our black belts. So I know it's a little rough. So right here, once again, we don't do Lacan or Dayang just by itself. Except with, certain exceptions. So 1 stripe for first, 2 stripes for second, 3 for third, 4 for fourth. But here's where it changes. I take this in from Kempo. There's a bar for fifth. So now it's a bar plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, and then 2. So in the organization, I'm wearing the 10th degree for my organization, but this is what we've done this since, let me see. Well, we've probably had this for 10 years now. Trying to think when I did what. We did. Yeah, no, it's been at least 10 years. I went back to the red border. I was going away from that for a while. I had a belt that didn't have a border, but I had the Filipino script and the Kempo striping. Here we go. Well, so ranks again. Here we go. And I've got it written for you guys. So the prefix would be Lakan or Dayang, male or female designation. And the suffix would be Isa. Now, everyone, please, it drives me crazy. Read how it's written. I've had people since the split up send me letters, and then they would sign it incorrectly, like they'd spell Tatlo wrong. And I just felt that it was a no-win scenario, and I let it go because if I pointed it out to them, it would cause issues. And I just said, I screw it. If they don't know better, it's on them. But Isa is for 1, Dalawa, Tatlo 3, Apat 4, Lima's 5, Anim is 6, Pito 7, 8 is Walo, Siam is 9, and Sampu is 10. Okay, so I'm going to close this window.
While you're doing that, can I talk about real quick about the blank Lakan Dayang real quick?
Sure, by all means.
Since we're on that or around there, one of the things that often comes up, right, is it was always probational, right? And I think you and I know that wasn't always the case. In fact, I can tell you that mine wasn't probational. Mine didn't have a date on it. And at the same time, and I think this happened around some of your people too, there was a time where some people got straight Lacan, some people got straight Lacan that was probational, and there was a difference made there. So it wasn't always probational back in the day, even still, or at least not consistently, put it that way.
So before we get any farther in this, we're talking how Remy did things. Now, I took a little sidestep there to show how I do something. And let's talk about Remy. I remember he saw David Hoffman had 5. Okay, and I brought here's my belt. So this is the one I wear. Okay, and it's got a script on the other end. Speed up, I need a new one. It's funny. You want your entire uniform to be immaculate, but you want a ratty old belt. Because evidently it tells you how hard you worked out. Then you had the Century selling the pre-faded black belts at one time, which I thought was hilarious.
Well, Remy didn't care about a lot of stuff. I remember I asked him about if I could use a sash and said he didn't care. Same color scheme, you're good to go. So remember, I sometimes use a sash.
So David Hoffman comes up. He's got 5 stripes on each side. And Remy's like, what is this? Look, he thinks he's 10th degree. I go, no, Remy. He's 5th. He's 5 on each side. Oh, okay. Years later, he goes to me, Tim, you should put the stripe on the belt. I just looked at him and go, where's yours? He looks at me and goes, shut up, Tim. But I get it.
Yeah.
Here's one I'm working on right now. I have a belt rack I'm having done. And people are, what they're doing is they're going to do, it's all for 1st degree and higher. So people see, because here's the problem. When you go to a martial arts school, you will see a belt rack somewhere, and most of them that goes white to black belt. but how many show the degrees afterwards? So people think black's at the end. They don't understand that a black belt is really just an advanced beginner.
Yep.
But okay, let's see what Mr. Alvin said. How's the international standardization based on the IRR? Am I reading that right?
You read it right. I don't understand.
Okay, so Alvin, I need you to tell us what IRR is because I really have no clue what that is.
Right.
Yeah, no problem, Joe. You're still quasi on my shit list.
Good to see you, Joe.
I will go to YouTube, and there he is. It was a stonewash, not a ratty. yeah. Okay, and it broke down fast too, didn't it? Why did you have a couple? Oh, wait a minute. I think Joe just put up a picture the other day of one.
Oh, okay.
Joe,
you weren't even thinking of that, yeah.
Joe, I was not calling you out on that. I just remember all the stuff. I'm sorry, man. Okay, that makes up for me saying I can't keep him on my shit list because I just busted his chops unintentionally. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Joe. I really am. Maybe not. No, I am.
I can see him laughing right now.
I will buy
Poopy
head headband. Okay, all right. I'll let you go with that. I'll go with that. And then we're still waiting for Alvin to talk about the IRR. I really don't know what that is. There's no standardization. Nor should there. Each organization has the right to do what they're doing. I have no problem with that. Just don't change the history of what's going on. We're talking about how Remy Pracis did stuff. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so who would be okay. You see that?
See that? I don't know.
So if you're saying a governing body, who would that governing body be? I'm curious to hear about that. And this might not. Yeah, we'll see if we can stay this on a good course. So let's start off the bat with something. While Remy was alive, the only rank-driven title that I know of was Grandmaster. In the book or whatever, 10th degree was the Grandmaster, and that was it. Everything else, well, before we go into this, there were no rank-driven titles. What are your thoughts on that, my friend?
I don't know who you're talking to, but yes, I was going to.
Well, that's you. You're my friend.
There you go. You're my friend too. We're all friends here. So I agree. I mean, I don't know either, but there's a lot I don't know. But I don't know of any other ones. And looking at it from the other end, right? We used to have, and I know you're going to get to this, but I'm just going to introduce them here. Basic instructor and advanced instructor certification. I saw people get those at a variety of different ranks. So again, that's direct proof. At least those two were consistently not tied to a rank. There may have been a minimum, but I couldn't tell what it was because you could get a blue belt with a basic instructor depending on if that person was on a good path.
I was a blue belt when I got my basic instructor.
There you go. I think I was green, but yeah.
Okay, let's go to the film here. Let's go to another file here. I'm going to share. So we're going to talk about. Okay, so we already talked about rank. Okay, so and we hit it right off the bat saying there is no rank-driven title other than Grandmaster. Okay. Nothing verifiable. So this was not my first certificate. So right here, advanced instructor certificate.
Yeah.
My basic certificate was done in 85, 86. Okay. Oh, so Rich Mitchell was there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Terry Warham. That's Remy's signature. I don't know who these two were. Maybe Richard Roy. He was there. Oh, there's Rocky.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's got to be Rocky. Awesome.
There's Rocky. All right. Rocky pops up. Okay. Oh, here we got a couple of things. So let's see what Joe's saying. I heard that rank belts and modernities were denoted by the trim and allegedly progression. Yeah. Yeah. Professor did talk about.
Yep.
Yeah, he did talk about theoretically a full red belt, and I think that's what the Filipinos are wearing, the red belt. The anti-modern Ernie's belt, the red belt with the black border versus the traditional one. Professor always wore the same belt. Matter of fact, most of the belts he had, he got from me. Constantly, he'd come to the club and look on the wall. Oh, Tim, this is a nice belt you have here. Go ahead, take it. No, I haven't buy it. Go ahead. Who's got the other one? Because a lot like, okay, who got my belt? Who got the last belt I had? Who got the other belt I had? So and a lot of the modern East people, they got the belts from me. I'm not saying got promoted. They physically purchased a belt for me because I had someone who was doing them. And Fisticuff Guild, how you doing? Okay. I'm going to let you take this one.
So if the question, I think he's asking about the WMA right now, I think. So assuming if you're asking the WMA, then the president and the chairman of the organization is the guy with the finger on the top of his head right there, Datu Tim, Grandmaster Datu Tim. And I was going to add one thing. So there is a little bit of weirdness, and so I know where you're coming from on some things. Keep in mind that the IMAFP is different and was the Philippines chapter of IMAF. IMAF was, back in the day, centered in the U.S. So that's where we're coming from as far as where we're coming up, I think. Would you agree, Tim?
Okay. So I would like to know what organization specifically Alvin's talking about, but the IMAF was the mother organization, International Modern East Federation, ran by the late Grandmaster Remy Amador Praces.
Yep.
That was based here in the United States.
Yep.
The will that's been posted has a whole bunch of us, myself included, that were supposed to form a board and a corporation and move forward with this. Okay. The Philippines was a chapter of the bigger organization. Because there are two different groups in Germany, there was no one particular chapter designated, because you had Gabriel Roloff and you had Dieter Knutel. So Gabriel was it for the longest time, and then Dieter joined, but he had his own organization. So the DAV. Well, I really don't know enough about what happened exactly with that, but the DAV has always been its own entity as far as it's been explained to me by them. And, they were looking at Ernesto at one time as their technical director, or their influence, and then Remy became their guy. I mean, but Dieter's always been the technical director, and then, who's he getting the source material from? And Remy was the last person there. Okay. So, and then Joe is still trying to find the oval IMAF patch.
Yeah, the vertical oval.
Yeah.
I've got one or two sewed to things somewhere.
Yeah. And I've got a black one. I got a purple one. Oh no, I've seen the purple one, which is supposed to be a navy blue. Didn't quite work out. And then there's the black one. So, let's focus first on these certificates here.
Back on track. Good.
There was supposed so with Remy, he always had basic and advanced. When I started doing my apprenticeship program and he saw how well it was working, he eventually implemented an apprentice instructor certificate. So to my knowledge, there's only 3 diplomas. I've heard people say that there was 10 levels, and Well, let me put things in a better context. In addition to being the guy in Buffalo, I was Remy's Can-Am director. So I helped with a bunch of things. So when I went to these camps, probably starting in '89, I started teaching at the camps. And anytime professor was in Buffalo, then I would be helping with them.
Well,
thank you, Albert.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeremy.
One other thing that might pertain to this, and because we've heard it before, basically, if you were at a camp or had some significant time with Remy, no matter what your rank was, he expected you to grab someone and work with them. And if you needed to call it teaching, that's cool. You weren't a guru or anything like that, but you could call that some level of an instructor in a sense. I'm sure some people could take it that way. I still stuck to the two levels I knew about, and then the apprentice one fits in there as well, I guess. But I can see how some people could take it that way because we all had a mission to spread his art.
Right. But there was only two to start off with, and a third. To hear that there was all these levels, I'm going to have to. Yeah. I would have to see said diplomas, and here's the thing, I'm willing to have people change my mind, providing they have enough information. And I like I said, I don't want to sit there and saying I know it all, and I'm 100% right, and I can't be wrong. I'm willing to change my mind once the proper evidence has been vetted and brought to me so it can be vetted. And that's really what what we're talking about here. So to hear all these other instructor diplomas, I find that highly unlikely because, I would have had one.
Well, and you already had a ranking structure that had a bunch of levels, so I don't know why he would have two. It doesn't even make any sense.
I mean, here's the thing. When it comes to, and this goes, if there was rank-driven certificates or titles, I would have had all of them because I was the highest active ranked American. So, Guro itself, once I got my instructor certificate, I was addressed as Guru Tim. I didn't ask for it. That's what I was told. And Remy addressed me that way as well. As a blue belt, I was Guru Tim. This camp, I would have been a high brown. When I got this, and then the year after I became a black belt. But I was Guru Tim long before becoming a black belt. Now, let me see. Okay, the rest are we don't need to look at the moment because I do want to show. Let me see here. I'm gonna close this, and I'll go back because there's a certificate I want to show everybody. Yeah, I'm pulling that one up.
That's interesting about the Guru for the instructor certificates. I never asked what they should call me, so I never found out. But I also got my advanced at Brown, but I didn't. I only asked Remy what they should call me after I had gotten black, and he said Guru, of course, and that was fine. So that's interesting. That's an interesting piece of data. See, I learned something new. Even old tired Ty.
And who knows? That could have been because of my situation. That could have been. I mean, there's so many things that it could. When we talk about this stuff, we're talking based on our personal experiences. So someone had told me, "Oh, I was on the East Coast. We never did that probationary thing." Do you think that was the case, or do you think that maybe that person was just promoted straight to first degree? Because as long as I knew that was in play for a long time. What do you think about that?
I know it started out where I was seeing more and more of them at the beginning, and then later on, so mid late 90s, I didn't see as many probationary ones, but you still saw them. But that
yeah. Well, every rank was potentially probationary.
Makes sense. Well, especially since he's going around the seminar circuit, camp circuit. I mean, you've got to make some calls, and you got to have some leeway to be creative with what you want to do and where people are going.
Yeah, there were you know, like I said, there's people who, well, it became more and more the way. And I remember there's a guy in Buffalo, we all tested together. He was training with my group, and at the end he went on his own. And we all came out to my house afterwards, and he was the only one that got a probationary rank. The rest of us were full Lacans, not Ishas, Lacan. I was an Isa. My black belts were Lacans. He was probationary, and the Lacan was like, well, you know, I wish it wasn't probationary. I go, well, then you wouldn't be a black belt now, would you? And I just shut him right up. But he was the weakest link. He was a high brown. He improved, but not enough. What's a person to do, you know? Okay, now speaking of cool diplomas, Carl Minkle. I love Carl. He shared this with me. I gave one of these away a long time ago. Kicked my ass for not keeping it. So this is a diploma that Remy gave me a long time ago. He gave me a handful of diplomas because I was a co-host for the camps. And it's got the IMAF seal down here. Let me see. Actually, I don't even know what the seal is. It has what I would assume is the IMAF seal.
Yeah, it says IMAF.
Okay, there we go. Modern East Federation seal. Okay, that's badass. So I had a few of these. People needed them. They didn't get their diplomas. I did the right thing, stepped up, got them out there. You know, and you know what professor would do would put their name there, their rank. This was cool. Instructor. Now I was hoping that would be for their instructor. This is before professor did that printed one for me. So let me see if I can find that one here in my mix.
Yeah, I agree, Jeremy. The photo is nice.
What the heck is that? Okay. I'll get back to the comments. Diplomas. Okay. I have all my awards and stuff together. What was I looking for? Oh, this one.
The printed name, yeah.
So this was cool. This is my pride and joy. The other one was that last one. Oh, it was the one that I should have never got rid of. You know, it's that car you never should have got rid of. That the girlfriends, you get rid of them. Actually, they get rid of us. We just say we got rid of them. Who we can? Guys, we're stupid. So here we go. International Modern East Federation rank certificate presented to blah, 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 who has worked hard and regular participation has been tested before a panel of judges and has met the qualifications and requirements to be hereby promoted to the honorable rank of fill in the blank on this day at Instructor Tim Hartman, attending black belt, and then Remy Prace's pre-signed, my name pre-filled out. These are diplomas that Remy gave me. And it just made me feel so proud that he gave me a diploma blank with his signature on it, that I could do whatever I want.
Awesome.
You know, and, you know, Color Belt Promotions. That's what we did. Okay. So, some of the other diplomas that were out there, just real quick hit it. Okay, that was the close up there. That's the one that for my Datu ship. That was the last diploma. And I guess the master at Tappy Tappy's all had the same diplomas as well. All but Brian, he had a different diploma. That was my original one right here, which is really cool that almost to the day, My first promotion, black belt promotion, was July 17th in 1988 by Remy. And the last promotion by Remy was done July 16th in 2000. So, but these are, why is this, my computer's getting stupid. Am I on the right screen? I'm on the right screen. Okay. So, all right. So I'm going to quit sharing there. I think that's cool. I mean, there's some other, as we talked about the other day, there was other diplomas. Okay, Jason, we'll talk to you later, brother. So we'll do this, and we'll do this, and we'll do that. And don't worry, Jason, you can always watch us online or the broadcast, or not the listen. As a reminder, I can't even talk today. Please make sure you go to YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel. You're watching here on Facebook, that's fine. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Datu Hartman, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Ties KF. There we go. And he's putting out. You just put out some more jots or something.
I put out a full class on an intro to trapping hands, but with some hooks that you can start exploring different things. And so far, a lot of good response. One or two people that are really focused on full contact, like Muay Thai stuff, they didn't like it, but that's not what I do, so no big deal.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Did you pay him? So what titles did Remy give multiple times officially? Guro.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to titles, a lot of them were one-offs. The only one that was consistent, I would say, was Guro. I don't know of any other title that was consistent. Ty?
Not so consistent as in used a bunch of times at a particular rank.
Yeah, I would say okay. There's okay. We're gonna get into the specialty ones. You're welcome, sir. We're going to get into the ones that are going to be like, okay, so Datu's Mats, Punong Gurus, those were handed out like special occasions, but not a everyday. So I guess the closest one that could have been done would have been Punong Guro. It wasn't, but it could have been. Now, let's talk about Punong Guro. In modern arnis, Remy praises modern. And once again, when we're talking about these things, we're talking about what Remy did while he was alive, not what the organizations do. I will tell you how we do it in the organization, just to put it in context and how and why. Like I showed the belts, so we're all on the same page. But, when we're looking at things, we're talking about how Remy did things, and the way the DAV or the way the WMAA or fill in the blank does things are not what Remy did per se. So, Punong Guro, there was only 2 given out. But so I went to Professor one day in Detroit, in Michigan, and I said to him, somebody I knew was using Punong Guro. And I go, Professor, what's a Punong Guro? And he looks at me and says, you're a Punong Guro. I go, Remy, I'm not asking to become one. What is it? And then the students started hearing me, they came over and go. So then I switched from Remy to Professor because, I never would, actually it was always Professor. I refer to him as Remy because there's too many professors to keep track of. but I was like, Professor, what's a Punong Guro? You are. And, so basically we started talking about it. He goes, listen, you are a guru. You produced one that elevated you to Punong Guro. Now, a friend of mine who passed away recently, Rudy Costco out of Toronto, he was Guru Rudy for decades. And all of a sudden he produced Joby Garcia as his first guru, and that elevated him to Punong Guro. Okay. So then fast forward to Michigan summer camp, and he goes, oh, Punong Guro Tim. And then, of course, Tim Murray with the sarcastic ex-Marine Corps friend of mine. What the hell's a ping pong guru? And I go, well, you get me near that table and I'll show you, bud. But everyone who produced a guru could have been a Punong Guro. Now, even though Remy said that, there was only two of us that got it. Marlena Hafano, in 2000, if I'm not mistaken, because he was getting ready to host a camp up there with Remy. He did the Big Three seminar he hosted, and Remy actually had a printed certificate with Punong Guro, Marlena Hafano on there. PG Marleno. I'm like, wow, okay, cool. So that one could have been. Now, inside our organization, what we do is, since I got it, I liked it. We do that at 5th degree black belt, and one of the criteria to be a 5th degree is to produce black belt students. If you're going to be a master, you need to have that. But that is a World Modern East organizational thing based on a Remy Prace's standard that was established. And we just have a rank to go with it because there are some people that use PG as head of system. So if we're going to use that, I don't want to dilute that. But at a master level, at a master level, I think PG is not a hard stretch for anybody. I think it's right in the ballpark. And since then we've tightened up our requirements for 5th degree and higher. But that would have been the only one that he never did. He could have. There was Protege, which he handed out a handful of them at one time, which means really nothing. It just means he's taking you under his wing. I was the Can-Am director, which I ran things, the Canadian American chapter. He goes, Tim, I want you to take over Canada because I live on the border. He wanted me to go in and help take over development of modern arnis in Canada. So I was going to London a lot, helping out up there. Some people, we have Craig Mason. Actually, Northern Ontario is blowing up. Toronto never does. I don't know why, but we're working on that. We got people down in Cambridge and stuff like that. So, we're moving in. We'll take over. Do you know of any titles down by you or anywhere that was quasi commonly used?
No, it was always Guru. We knew about the Datus at the time. We did not know if there were any Punong Gurus, and we did not know if there was anything, even a word called master or professor, right? Professor, there's only one professor for us. I know there were some one-offs, but maybe now's a good time to go into the one-offs. Maybe not necessarily all the reasons why, but just as an example.
Well, okay, so there is the first one-off, I would say, would be senior master. Uh-huh. Now, there's a misunderstanding with this, and I think this is going to tie into Master Tappy Tappy. Well, because I'm pretty sure that this was the precedent that was used with it. So Dan Anderson was a 6th degree black belt. And then years later, he was promoted to senior master. Not a numerical rank. He was given the title of senior master. What that meant? It's a title. Senior master. Okay. I don't know. So, that was it. I don't have any more.
But there was a separation. How many years between those two, and how long, what year around was this? Do you know?
Did you design the Can-Am patch? Got one on eBay. I don't know how you got one on eBay, but yeah, I did. Well, it was off of somebody else. People bought a bunch of patches from me. I did have those made. They were based off of some work that some other people did with Professor, but yeah, I did the Can-Am patch. It wasn't a belt promotion. So, based on things, if there was a 7th degree in the States, they would have ranked Mr. Anderson. I don't think senior master trumped anything. I think it may have been a distinction of 6 degrees And I only know of one other 6th degree in the States, and that was Sifu Lowry, but I'm not sure when he became one. And I thought that was really kind of as he was leaving, as he was retired. He didn't leave on bad terms, but as he was retiring from martial arts, it was kind of I don't know. I just got the vibe that was more of a farewell promotion type thing. Honoring him for his service that he did while I was helping Remy. I mean, Sifu Lowry was in the original videos. So, and Remy tells a story how they were joking around, and the guy who did the videos, they told him, no, whatever you do, don't change your hair, don't do anything. Make sure you shave everything the same way. And of course, the last day, what do? They all get haircuts. Just like, ah. So, Master Tappy Tappy is a big question.
So back to the original question, right? Were there ranks that gave you a title, or vice versa, titles that were associated with ranks? This might actually tie in right about here.
So,
in the other direction.
Yeah. The mod is a rough one because I really don't want to, you got to, can you open up on this one? And then
I'll do what I know about it. So let's see. At the time that the various Masters Tappy Tappy got promoted to Master Tappy Tappy, some one, maybe two, anyways, was 5th degree. And then I think some were 3rd. I don't think anybody was lower than that. But at the time they got Master Tappy Tappy, the ones that were not 5th were promoted to 5th, so that all the Masters of Tappy Tappy had a 5th degree. And I think that happened simultaneously, unless I'm mistaken. Oh, okay. So good. More info. That's all I know. And I know that 2 got promoted earlier, and then the other 5 got promoted shortly thereafter.
Well, and that would be the thing about they weren't promoted at the same time.
Okay.
And the context changed. So, okay. So let's start off with the first thing. Master Tappy Tappy, no one knows what it means. Nothing has been verified. And contrary to popular belief, it was not created to take over the system. Because when Professor first gave it out, he didn't realize he had a health problem. So if we sit there and said it was the successors to take over, that would say the professor was quitting or thought he was going to die, right?
Makes sense. I mean,
So what happened? I was in Germany. No, I was in Plymouth, England, teaching a seminar, and I was going to meet Remy in Germany. He was teaching in Tunisia. I had been promoted to Datu already, and actually, we'll tie this in. In '99, professor offered to promote me to Datu. I turned it down because I wanted to test for my rank of 6th and Datu all at the same time. I didn't want to separate the two. I wasn't ready for my belt promotion, and I wanted it to be something special and work hard for it, not just a. Most of my black belt promotions I did physically. I didn't test for my Lacan. Someone took my time slot, long story. And then my Lima, my 5th degree was done. Professor said, okay, you're ready. As I was dropping off at the airport, he goes, you're 5th. And then I got my black diploma later, which I shared in an earlier episode. And of course the ink faded, but you can see where he wrote the thing. And I am okay. There's the pot. Where's my Lima? I've got a Lima around here somewhere. I don't know, but when you're looking for something, you can never find it. So so in 2000, I tested for my 6th degree and Datu, and I received it, and he introduced me as Datu Tim in at the Atlanta camp, where actually when he promoted me, all the would-be masters of Tappy Tappy except for Brian Z were at the camp. There were 7 of them, only 6 were in attendance, and then we went to Atlanta. That's when he introduced me as Datu Tim. Chuck and Jeff were there. Chad Doolin was there. Roland Rivera, if I'm not mistaken, was there. David Nung, obviously Bob Quinn, the host.
Is that where the infamous quote that people don't understand came?
Which one's that?
The being introduced by Remy, being quoted, him saying, highest ranked, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, no. So the highest, and we'll talk about this, I think later when we talk about the Datu, but I mean, the highest ranked black belt comment was actually at the Michigan Summer Camp.
Okay.
So, so let's go back to that one later.
Okay. I was just curious. I was trying to reconstruct a timeline in my head. That's all.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. If we do timelines, so July 16th of 2000, I tested, and Professor made a big speech at the end of the test that it was the highest test in over 17 years. So that's 2000. So over 17. So even if it was just 17, it was the highest physical test all the way back to 83. So wait for it. Probably the highest physical test in the United States. Okay. If you said over 17 years, that might go farther back all the way to the Philippines. Who knows? And that's when he said I was the highest ranked black belt in the States. And so that was July. August, he announced to me introduced me at the camp as Datu. And then that October, we all headed over to Europe, and Professor was in Tunisia teaching, and he was having some equilibrium issues. And while he was there, he promoted Gabrielle and Jeff Delaney to Master of Tap. They promoted them both to 5th degree and Master Tappy Tappy. And then they fly to Germany. I'm there waiting. Or they, as in Gabrielle and Remy, Astrid, and Yamil. Jeff had flown home. So Remy Gabrielle tells me she got promoted. Okay. To 5th degree and Master Tappy Tappy. And then at the end of the week, Remy gets taken to the hospital. We're at the camp where it's supposed to happen. And he says, we say, he's not feeling good. Do you want to go to the hospital? He goes, yeah, let's go to the hospital. Hey, Chris. So we go to the hospital. He gets diagnosed. I'm the only American there when he gets diagnosed. Okay. So let me say that again in case you missed it the first time. I was the only American present during the diagnosis. The rest were all still in the States. Okay. I had time with him. He offered to promote me again. I said, no, let's not worry about that. It will get you better. Flew home, told Randy Shea, get him out of there before people take advantage. And based on the stories that I was being told, I thought it was going to be Dieter going over and potentially, hey, get him out of Germany before Dieter tries to take advantage of stuff, because I think Dieter did some things to hurt his image, but I think other people piled stuff on that may not have been his. I think people saw an opportunity to make it worse for him, and I think they demonized him more than he deserved. So, here I'm focusing on, the person that is talking about this, and then all of a sudden, bunch of Americans fly over and everyone's promoted to 5th degree black belt and get the title of Master Tappy Tappy. Of the 7, 2 people, Brian and Randy, are the only 2 that were not already. They were the 2 that were 5th degrees. The rest were all 3rds and 4ths. Now, I don't blame Chuck or Brian for certain things because they weren't present. Chuck I think he had ulcers and was in the hospital at the time, and Brian couldn't get away because of family and work commitments. So, but who flew over afterwards was Kenny, Jeff Delaney, Randy Shea. Obviously, Gabrielle was there. I'm not sure if Jim Lattis was there or not.
I don't think so.
But they flew over, and a bunch of promotions were made. So after I said let's get them out of here before something happens, they go over. So, people, you can choose what you feel, but based on the optics, in my opinion, people took advantage of Remy's situation. Now, I will say this: I think he had intentions to promote all these people to Master Tappy Tappy. I don't question that was going to happen, but I don't think it was to take over the art. I don't think the title was the end all be all. Because once again, when the first two promotions happened, Remy thought he was physically fine. So, being a master Tappy Tappy, what does that mean to you? You master a drill. Personally, and Chad Doolin has talked about this with us, and I've given him the opportunity to call bullshit on me because he was tasked to help out Jeff by Remy. I think it was a consolation prize for me becoming a sixth and a Datu, and I haven't been able to find anyone who really can blow a hole in that theory. It's my opinion. It's how I feel. But, and listen, I'm just talking about the optics. Randy, get him out of here before someone takes advantage and gets promoted. And then days later, people fly over and get promoted. How would you take that? So I don't think, I think he was going to promote him to Master Tappy Tappy. I don't buy that they were the end all be all. The one thing that's always been consistent with all of Remy's things is rank has always been consistent. Titles are inconsistent why people get things. But numerical rank is, and here's the thing. Let me ask you this. And please, anybody out there wants to call bullshit on me, by all means, I'll even send you an invitation right now to get on the show with us. I can do that like that, as long as you're a Facebook friend or send me an email address. So I can send you the link. But, at the end of the day, how do you say someone, okay, if they were the end of the comment was, this was the end all be all, then why stop at fifth degree? Why not promote them to sixth degree? Why not promote them to ninth, keeping yourself the 10th degree spot there, or promote them to 10th? Why would you stop at fifth degree? Oh, wait a minute. Because I was a six. That's how I feel. I might not be justified, but that's how I feel. And, the thing I've been very upset with as of late is that people, it seems that everyone's allowed to feel the way they do except for me. So, and now this is my, I'm just saying, listen, this is, maybe I think Remy wanted more for those guys. I really do. But if the title superseded rank, why bother giving rank at all? The comment they told me was, when Randy told me was, well, we turned fifth, which was junior master, into master. I'm like, really? That way they were all masters when we promoted them. Once again, saying that it was rank driven. And then they were given the title of master of Tappy Tappy. But here's where I think this ties into the Anderson's senior master promotion. I think people got confused with it didn't turn white, it's silver, you moron. At least I still have hair. Some of those others don't. I love Chris. Not you. You're not a moron. You're a super genius. The thing here is, and I got sidetracked there. They said, I think people assumed that, not knowing what was going on, that Dan got sixth and then senior master. He didn't get senior master because he was a sixth. And I think they tied that in together. And then they said, oh, it was junior master was fifth, but we'll make it a full master. Why would 5 be a junior master if 6 is a master? Junior master would be under master. It wouldn't be under senior master directly. You would go junior master, master, senior master. I mean, or am I missing something here?
I don't know. I mean, one of the things I've always thought was master was fifth in most styles. It's not hard and fast. And in some styles, a master is just somebody who is a teacher of teachers, right?
Some fourth and five are usually the two numbers I see a lot. Yeah. In the Sikaran, there's only two titles. There's the Grandmaster, which is the head of the system, and then the Master, which was one. So, like when Geronimo was with us, he was the Grandmaster, and his brother was the Master. But there was only one GM, and there was only one Master. So, I mean, so people have their own ways of doing things. But in modern Arnis, we didn't. I mean, once again, if that was, I would have had Junior Master then, because if it was a rank-driven title, I would have had it because I was the highest ranked black belt. I would have had all the titles that were rank-driven. Simple as that. If it's like in Kempo Karate, every belt, every degree has a different title. It's not just the degree; it's also all this other stuff, which I don't know. I mean, I hang around the Kempo guys. I don't know it, but and I think Tuhan Jack has a lot of different titles for each level in Pikiti.
Yeah, there's some, but they're usually long and people don't use them.
Well, and it would be easier to just say, I'm a first degree black belt. I'm a third degree black belt. I'm a this. I mean, that's how Remy did things,
And sometimes he would do sort of a nickname, right? So what he called me? It wasn't a rank at all, but it was a nickname. And you know what? I whenever I think about it, I smile. It only has to do with my name. It doesn't have to do anything, right? You've heard it because I made jokes at your expense.
Datai,
right? Now I know what that translates. Yep. But it's funny because he would burst out in the middle of a seminar and stop and exclaim that, and it made you feel, because he was really good at this, making everybody feel special.
Well, there was junior professor.
There's that
Michael Bates.
Yep.
And Michael Bates was Master Bates. And he was a master in karate. His last name was Bates, Master Bates.
Yep.
Master Michael T. Bates or Master Bates. So Remy eventually said, "Oh, junior professor," and it became a big thing. And people were like, "Oh, is this true?" And I go, "Yeah, no, I've seen the certificate. It says that." But it wasn't Junior Remy. By no means was that Junior Remy, because once again, he had a numerical rank, which I think was only a fourth degree.
Well, that actually reminds me of another one, protege. He often said the words protege, and it was descriptive. You are my protege, and it was an encouragement thing. I don't know that it was a title, but he would tell lots of people that. I remember he told me that.
I was a protege, and I used it I didn't use it as a title, but I used it in promotional material. I was one of his proteges.
Sure.
And people got upset. I'm like, well, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Hey, did he not introduce me to all you guys as a protege? Yeah. Well, then why are you getting upset at me?
Right. Just like they want to get upset at you for being called Datu.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry.
It's your fault. No.
It's my fault that I trained so damn hard.
Professor did a lot of things, and he called people a lot of things, and they were usually good. And a lot of it was encouragement. A lot of it was enablement. A lot of it was to help the art spread. He was very savvy. Yeah. In people and in business. Yeah.
So as far as the master, listen, there was no question that the guys that were all the guys and woman, Gabrielle, the seven of them. All right. So that would have been Randy Shade, Brian Zawolinsky. Those two were already five. So they just got the title. Then you had Chuck Goss, Kenny Smith, Jim Lattis. One of them were a third. I think only one of them were a fourth, and the rest were thirds. Gabrielle Roloff. Is that it?
Jeff Delaney.
And Jeff Delaney. Okay. So
my Texan brother.
Yeah. So those were the people who received Master Tappy Tappy. But the first two were issued out before Remy knew he was ill.
And that was Gabby and Jeff.
Which I go back to. It wasn't created to take over the art. Because here's the thing. You know what? We'll go with Datu for a moment. There was no question Bong Hernellas was being groomed to take over. No questions asked. Those who were around him would have seen. So that would have been like 87, 80. It came up recently. He may have been the second Datu. He may not have been the third. Him and Kelly were like right around the same time. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it's the six of us. But, you know, you do want to be somewhat accurate. So, but I'm going to go, I mean, with our list, I'm going to go with Kelly first until I see information on, I was told recently that Bong was 87 and Kelly was 88. So I don't know. And I checked my diplomas and stuff because I did a seminar with him, with Bong at the Michigan State Summer Camp. And actually I'm looking at him. I got, let's see here, December 3rd, 88. April 1st is when I got my red belt with him in 89. December 3rd. Yeah, 88. I think the December 3rd diploma was in Michigan, visiting him directly. And I think I know I met him in 88, maybe 80, maybe 87. So he could have been Datu. I'm not sure. But here's the thing. Remy was grooming. There was no question. If you were around there, you would have sat there and said, dude, this guy is it, you know. And he had life issues come up that took him out of the organization, that took him out of the life. It did. So it wasn't out of the organization. It took him out of the life. Then he shows up years later. And I go to introduce him as Datu, and Remy says, don't. Just introduce him. I'm like, okay. Let's not go down that path. Okay, here's a question. Boom.
It's a good question.
Okay, so are those ranks lost with Professor's death, or can people still get the titles? Okay, so I'm going to take that as are the titles still there to be given out? So, Ty, why don't you start this one off?
So are the titles there to be given out, or the ones that he gave out, do those still matter? I think the last question is pretty easy, right? He gave them out. They don't disintegrate.
So, yes.
So.
Or can people still get them? Okay.
Well, that's the next part of the question, yeah.
Okay, so, you know, okay, are we talking rank and or okay? Okay, I'm gonna say one thing. When it comes to rank, I still claim a 6th in Modern Arnis as by Professor. Everything else post Remy is organizational based. So that's what I'm going with.
Or a different art.
Or a different, yeah, you know. So like I will always be a 6th. And in Modern, at the time, that's actually 7 because it was black, then first degree. So 7th level black belt in Modern and Datu. And with Ernesto, it was a 9th degree black belt and Grandmaster. I can't change those.
Oh, I see. Okay. So that speaks to more of the passing on. Yeah, I think Tim. I think Datu's getting there.
So I'm going to say Datu. I'm going to specifically talk about it because we've gotten into fight. There's been people. I've really got an issue with people doing some things with Datu as of late. There was 6 of us. Okay, and that from Remy. This is the problem. Remy promoted in no particular order in a guideline that I have. Shashir Nicolo, Kelly Warden, Bong Hernellas, David Hoffman, Dieter Kanoodle, and myself, Tim Hartman. And I'm pretty sure that was the order. I know Dieter is butting heads with me right now because he said Dieter got it, that David got it in 2000. I vividly remember, Chad and I both remember around 94 Hoffman being a Datu. But, and that's both, and like I said, I vetted this with him. Whether it's Kelly or Bong, don't know. But like I made my comment, it doesn't matter because the 6 of us are all Datus. Now, the Datus were hand chosen by Remy Praces. The Masters of Tappy Tappy were hand chosen by Remy Praces. The Punong Gurus, obviously given by Remy, but Remy said that there is a precedent for more than just us to be done, So the Mats and the Datus, I kind of think that they are kind of frozen-ish. Now, I know Kelly said that he's going to pass it on to somebody, but I think, in my personal opinion, that we should get together as a community if we were going to add any more. So there's a group that's promoted. Michael Bates has his Hall of Flame Foundation, and they've given out several Datu titles. I don't acknowledge them because nobody who is issuing them has received one. And thank you, sir. Glad you agreed. But even if you didn't, I value your opinion. And but with that group down there, none of the people there were Datus. They're issuing out Datu titles, and the people who received them were around Remy 15 years or so. If Remy wanted to promote them to Datus, they had plenty of opportunities, and he didn't. So, that's how I feel about that. There's all those people who have taken the title because Vic Sanchez in the Philippines gave out a Datu award. You actually found the information to verify this.
Yep. Now I don't know where it is, but yeah, I saw the certificate. A picture of the certificate.
So it was a Datu award. It was not a Datu promotion.
It said Datu award. I don't remember what the other word said, but that's what it said in the big letters.
And I remember it was Tim Cascino, otherwise known as Doc's Enforcer, on Marshall Talk and FMATalk, who posted it and said, "Hey, listen, no big deal. This is an award. Don't look into it." And lo and behold, the recipient, there you go. The recipient then claimed to be a Datu. He said, "I have every right to do this." And there's several of them. It was Tom Bolden, if I'm not mistaken, Bram Frank, and Jerome Barber. All three were issued the Datu award. I think the Acosta, one of the Acosta brothers also received the Datu award, was going for Datu for a while, and I think may have changed that since. But it was an award, at least for the latter three, or the forward, the Jerome, the Bram, and the Tom Bolden.
Well, and there's a point here I think that people might get lost. I mean, just good butt in. I don't have Datu, I don't have Master Tappy Tappy, but what I have seen in martial arts, I've been around a year or two, it seems like to me that there's a difference between a one-off kind of a title that doesn't have precedent in other related arts and ones that do. So if you have a system that you got Sigongs or you got Kyoshis or Hanshis or Renshis or things like that, and there is precedent, even if it's not associated with rank, that's a different situation or a different conversation about who can give those out later, right? Because there's an established tradition of those titles. Does that make sense? And so I think what's different about Datu and Master of Tappy Tappy are that those are one-off creations by Remy, because I don't know of any other Filipino martial art that uses Datu. Datu is arguably by some persons. I mean, before Remy used it.
Yeah. I mean, other people are using it. They didn't. I've seen Datu in rank. I've seen the Philippines put it in rank. And they also say we have titles of Raja and all this other stuff. And I think that was to devalue the Datu. That's just my opinion.
I mean, I know it's a loaded term and everything like that, but I'm just talking about where it came from when Remy gave it out. It was fairly special.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
So let's address the Datus specifically. Hey, Rob. So, okay, so we talked about the 6 who were involved, and I'm gonna just get into MST is in the house. Yep. Chris is everyone's fan club. I need to sign him as a exclusive here. Chris has got to be my fan club president, and the hell with everybody else. And you can have him on weekends too, Ty. So it's all good.
There you go. There is a fan thing that Facebook now has, is like greatest fan or something. Those are the labels you can give. I don't know how to do it. I think it's automatic, but yeah.
Okay. So I talked to Remy once about what a Datu was.
Okay.
And his comment to me, oh, it's not velvet. It's not velvet. You've been, it's a tablecloth. Come on. I just added for color, you idiot.
Good one, Rob.
Yeah, that's what you get when I train Rangers. Well, no. I don't teach Rangers. He was a Ranger, and he trains at my club. Okay, I'm an ambassador of the martial arts. Okay.
There you go.
That hurts. Yes, it does.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Okay. All right. So, so when I asked Remy, I go, what's a Datu? And he goes, I am not getting an Elvis painting. Oh, wait, who's Elvis painting? I don't have one. I had the album though. But when I talked to Remy about what a Datu was, he's like, it's like being knighted. Simple as that. And we know in some cultures in that region, it's like being knighted. It's the tribal leader, the leader of the tribe. Now, I've heard a couple different things. Kelly Warden has said it's more like you're licensed to go out and do your own thing, kind of research and development stuff. I don't buy that. I just don't think that was the case. I think that may be the way he interpreted things. I mean, here's the thing. If you talk to a Filipino, if you've never talked to them before, you need to ask the same question multiple times over a period of time to get the right answer or even to get something close. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, stereotypes aside, I mean, that I've had to really figure out what was behind the meaning. And so, yes, you do have to pull the thread pretty hard and pretty over a long period of time often.
It's not racist. I mean, because English was Remy's 4th language.
Right.
I mean,
it's hard to express things in one language into another and get it right in one try. No matter who you are.
And I would constantly ask the question over and over again, and I would get a little more of the answer, or it's like, oh, wait a minute, he didn't understand what I really asked. I just got a different answer. Okay, I'm going to ask it again in a month. Wow, I asked the same question over 6 months period of time and ended up with a completely different answer. And I think I see where it went wrong. I mean, the other thing is I ask questions that most people don't. I would ask tougher questions because because of my experience. I'm going to let you read this one because it takes up too much of my screen and my camera's in the way. So here's Tom Carnes.
Gotcha. I'll go ahead and read it. So from Tom Carnes. Datu, I am told, was to enforce a spiritual leader or the one who would found or support the Grandmaster in his endeavors, aka seminars. Some use it as a title rank, but in the Philippines, it was a spiritual leader or guide, not religious. The spirit of the tribe would give a Datu. This title would be like a captain. If we looked at it, it's deeper enforcement, like captain of, yeah. So anyway, he stopped at enforcement.
Yeah.
I think I understand what he's saying.
Yeah. Now, I do. Hold on here.
There you go.
Yep. There you go. There was Dieter told me he talked to Remy once about this, and his comment was that Remy told him. I never heard this. Okay. But the comment that Remy made, the answer that he gave Remy, or Remy gave him, was that he would choose his successors from the Datus. Now, from a cultural point of view, okay, you look at all the titles. Well, I'm going to throw a couple out at you here. You just throw this out here. Master of Tappy Tappy, Senior Master, Guru, Punong Guro, Datu. Culturally speaking, what do you think has the most significance of them?
With some history with it, yeah, I think Datu makes sense. I'm colored, right? Because remember my background growing up in Malaysia, right? There's a similar term called Datu. Similar meanings, but not quite the same. So I have to be careful about what I try to understand.
Yes, yeah. I actually makes sense. And then Shazam!
Shaman.
Oh, yeah. See, that's the problem. I'm not using my readers because every time I wear them, see, I get it messes up my thing. Shaman. I like Shazam better.
Well, you have to wear the uniform then.
I got one.
Pajamas don't count.
Okay. Look, listen. Somebody wrote Shazam.
Several people.
And they wrote it again, and they wrote it again, and they wrote it again, nice. And they even spelled it right, didn't they? Oh, they can't even tell. I don't know. My eyes are all messed up. So, I like Shazam better. It just sounds better. So, okay, listen, what Dieter said makes sense. It makes 100% sense. I've never heard Remy say that, so I cannot comment. But from a cultural point of view, if we're just specifically thinking about titles and what they mean, and I can't believe that Remy would just have used a title indiscriminately, especially from that culture. Now,
if it carries some baggage in the culture, he meant that for a reason. You would think.
I'm going to throw this out here ahead of time. I'm sick and tired of people saying it's a Muslim thing. I'm going to call bullshit on that. It's a Filipino thing. And I think only a minority of the Filipinos are Muslim. And when all the people I've heard talk about this are non-Filipinos, so how do they know what the Filipinos are using it for? And there's bands called Datu. Well, there's a band called Datu's Tribe. There's a food product called Datu Puti. Paige, there you go, Paige. Thank you for the Shazam. See?
There you go.
All right, someone says Shazam. But so we got that. We've got different artists using Datu this. There's Datu music. There's this, that, the other thing. If it was such a sacred title, if it had religious implications in the Philippines, do you truly believe that they would put it on commercial products over there? I had someone give me shit about my face covering. So all the face masks I had, with the COVID, I had some with the Filipino flag, and the guy's like, you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do this because you're wearing it as a costume. No, it's a face cover. Would you do it with the American flag? Yes, here's my American flag one. It's just that's all there is to it. So let us go to here. Okay. It means Datu is the only one in the org. But there were 6. So I don't know how to take that one. Yes, it's also vinegar, soy sauce, and a few other products.
Well, maybe he named Jeff vinegar.
And I'm not trying to make light of this because I've had people bust my chops on this, and I actually put up a picture of the Datu Puti white vinegar thing. And the point, and Kelly Warren got all freaked out about it. He's like, "Oh, I'll dare you make fun of it." I'm not making fun of it. What I'm trying to show you is that if it was a religious title, they would not have used it on a food product. The band wouldn't be called this. They wouldn't do Datu music. They wouldn't do all these things.
We don't have Christ butter.
This is awesome. You guys need to do this more often. We do it once a week. It's on Mondays. Come on, Paige. You know better. I've told you about this. Killing me. Absolutely killing me. Uh-oh. Chris Davison, +1. This. I don't know that one. Am I missing something there?
No, this whole area of the conversation, I think,
okay.
Chris, is thumbs up with.
Thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. So, so I mean, once again, I'm trying to make a point, and if someone thinks that I was trying to make fun of it, I'm by no means am I trying to make light of the whole thing? Because that's not what I'm doing.
No, he was plus oneing the idea of having it more often.
Okay, there we go.
We only get so much time.
And we go way too long.
We do. Well, once a week is if that's and you know it would also help if we had more people. I don't know how hard it is for you to wrangle that, but
Hey, well, okay, so
they have to volunteer.
well, yeah, that's it. I can't twist anyone's arm.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, wait a minute. Wait for it. Boom.
Nice.
There we go.
And that's not making fun. Look, you can appreciate the humor and the point of making of, hey, something is actually more comfortable and less restricted than you think it is. Here's an example. But it's still funny. It doesn't mean your title Datu is funny.
No,
but it
no.
means the situation's funny.
Let's see. Let's do this. There's Datu. There's Datu music. Okay, Datu soy, cane vinegar. Let's do. I got another one.
There's a trend here of fermented products.
Okay, now that's getting down to the point where we're being too funny. Okay. Datu songs, Datu music. Hey, let's look at that. What's this? Oh, look at that Datu music. Oh, I want to get rid of the brand here.
So that's the name of their band.
Boom. Okay, Datu Alexander Jr. and electronic tribal music. Okay. Duo Datus is a Filipino music group, formerly of Kuya and the prison dancer.
Nice.
Datu showcases a movement of gongs and storytelling, singing and rap.
All right, pull up Chris's first comment with a ... thought.
The Shazam. Okay, first of all, what did the page say? You can be Shazam, Tim, and your friend partner Captain America. He's more Captain Clean, Mr. Clean, but whatever. So
Datu hair products. So you could call it Datu Dan, in a sense, Dapper Dan.
Dapper Dan.
Datu Dan.
No, we can't do that because that's.
Yep, I didn't think about that till afterwards.
Now that was meant to be funny.
That was good
because that person being funny is kind of funny.
All right, I'm done with it. He would laugh. All right.
I don't think he would.
Okay.
So the big one's coming up. The big title's coming up soon, but we're not going to. Actually, I'm going to step away for a moment. Why don't you entertain everybody, or actually talk more about this? I'll be right back. I just,
emergency broadcasting system break. Talk more about this. Well, it's funny, right? Because I'll go ahead and ramble for a second. There are different perspectives to all of this, right? And I think it's valid for somebody who doesn't have the titles to also ask some questions. And I think you guys are being great asking questions. Sultan, right? That's a good one from Tom Carnes. I can't pull up comments, but Tom Carnes writes, okay, the other that would be more Philippines is Sultan, right-hand man to the king. Sure. And they had sultans also in Malaysia. Actually, I'll go ahead and do my Malaysia story. So I lived in Malaysia for 3 years growing up in high school. Very related language, especially in the southern Philippines to Malay and Indonesia. Datuk, D-A-T-U-K, is related to D-A-T-U. There are some overlaps and there are some differences. The only way it comes in that's similar is if the idea was to promote the leaders from the Datus, that actually fits the way the Malaysian leaders rotated amongst the 12 tribes. The Datus would rotate for the king of Malaysia. So anyway, just some background there for fun and profit. Now we've got Datu Tim back.
You making fun of me?
No, didn't get around to that.
I would have. Oh, what do we got here?
I read that one, but I didn't know what I wanted to say about it, but I get it.
It's not modernese.
No. Well, it wasn't, at least until Remy died. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, and once again, we're talking about what Remy did. I keep pushing this. If you see in the middle of our brand, Remy A. Praces Modern Arnis. The brothers, Remy created the art. The brothers, when they got old enough, helped with the development of the art. And eventually, each brother's expression changed enough to merit being called a different system of martial arts. And while Ernesto was working this out, he was still using the name Modern Ernie's probably way too long that he should have been, and we bump heads with people because they don't get it or they refuse to get it, where it's like you're doing things on Ernesto's martial DNA. You're teaching you're using Remy's name, but you're using Ernesto's system. That we have a problem with. But okay, what did Miss Page say here? There is a Datu food. There is Datu food.
Mm-hmm.
It's called chicken wings and blue cheese
and ice cream.
Yeah, we go. A lot of Cone King ice cream.
That's right.
By the way, it has I can't. Okay.
Tracy.
Oh, I liked it. Oh, she was good.
Yep.
I don't know.
I thought that was odd too. They called her Lacan. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Or I don't know why. I don't know what the story is.
And Chris Davidson says Kempo Joe. All right. So I'm biased here. So of course, I lean towards the Datu ship as being the most significant. But what do I know? I actually look at the internet. Okay. I think that's the core of the titles. There's only one more, the big one. I think you know which one I'm talking about. The one that's way overused. But do you have? What was that?
I was gonna say, don't get me started.
Oh, I'm going to. Can you think of any other titles we want to talk about, or if there was anything other than the big one?
Oh, you already talked about Master. There's all the different teacher ones. So there's some that have been used. I don't know enough about them to talk about them. So I think we'd have to save those. Unless you know some other ones. Like I said, I don't have any more information on these other ones that I've heard come up, and that's about all I know, that somebody, has used them.
Oh, why don't you throw it out at me and I'll tell you if I heard anything about it.
Well, and I know two people that have talked about one of them, and I just don't know what to make of it. So there's the Guardian of the Praces, Legacy of the Praces Bolo, right, from Grandmaster Bram, and there's also, I think, other Guardians that popped up too.
Funny, you should make the comment on that one.
It's really a question. I'm trying to figure out what can I learn.
Well, okay. This actually came up the other day. I think things are possibly okay. So I'm looking for my file. Guardian of the Praces Bolo. That's the one we keep hearing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So before I go down that route, please tell me, what are they saying about said Praces Bolo, so, to make sure I'm commenting on the same gist of what we're at.
No, I just said it. I've come across it, so I've seen it used and sometimes it's in a promotional material, but that's just laying out there, right, under the name. And I'm just wondering, what is that supposed to be telling us? And I'm not picking on him because you know that Bram is a friend of mine.
Okay.
I understand it more. I could ask him, but I haven't talked to him for a while.
Well, okay.
And I don't want him to get defensive just because that's what people do. They think you're attacking, and I'm not.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with this one. I actually downloaded it the other day.
Which? Oh, Tracy?
No.
The certificate.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, first of all, as far as being a guardian of the Praces Bolo, that Remy allegedly gave him said bolo. Yeah, I know. Listen, with As far as listen, Remy left as a political refugee of the Philippines. He grabbed whatever he could and left. I doubt very much he brought some family bolo with him to give to Brem. Plus, it's just a bolo. It's not a big deal. It's a bolo. As far as the certificate goes, I saw said certificate, and that came from the IMAF Philippines. It did not come from Remy.
Mm-hmm. That's the only one I've seen.
So when we talk about this, we have to make sure we understand that this is not a Remy Prices thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, no, they would have to come from a watery lady lying in a lake, in a pond.
That was on the next season of Tracy.
Okay. Well, let's go to another one. How about chairman of the board? Since that's not around anymore, it's another interesting one-off that Remy used to use.
Well, the chairman of the board was Randy Shea, and I don't think had any real teeth.
Yeah, he used it a lot, and he would say with great emphasis. So it was interesting, but yeah, I didn't know what it was beyond some sort of recognition of Randy, but I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, I just think listen. Remy used some titles, and some of them were maybe a little more fluff.
Well, I got a good example. So you know my friend Raymond. You've met him several times. So Remy, whenever you see him, instead of exclaiming "Datu" for me, he would say "Raimundo, King of the World." Is that now Raymond's title, King of the World? I don't think so.
Well, of course it is.
But Remy used it. He was making fun of the name, translating. But
yeah, so
some of these times I think people go a little too literal with some of the things Remy was saying, unless he wrote it on a certificate.
Okay.
And just go with it and take it for the encouragement. Heck, he said I was one of the top. Raymond and I were the top representatives in Texas for a while. You know that story.
Yeah.
Until Randy moved there, and that's fine. But we didn't get a big head over it because we knew how much we didn't know. So okay, great.
It would have been better hands with you guys. Character building, yeah, it could have been. All right, listen.
Well, did you cover all the points you wanted to cover? Are we going off in weird land?
There's the big one.
Oh yeah, let's do that one.
Okay, the big one, the big enchilada. I was actually just looking to see if I can find the diploma of the other, but I cannot find that diploma. So
I think Rob's got a handle on the big one.
Yeah, and then there he goes, and then of course Chris is saying the big one. All right. Oh, did I find it by accident? Probably not. Nope, didn't find it. Okay. So the big one, Grandmaster. Okay, I have a real hard time with this one. First of all, my Grandmaster title comes from Ernesto Prices. It is through Combatant. He promoted me to 9th degree black belt in 2007 with the intent to promote me to 10th degree. He looked at me as Remy's top guy. This was his endorsement of me. And
the top guy words, that's his words. You're not trying to paraphrase him. Am I correct? I don't want to put words in your mouth. I just want to be clear.
He said I was you are my brother's top student. Okay. At the thought of anything above Datu. I turned in for the best part. Okay, so but he passed away before that could happen. I used GM because of the I used it because Ernesto promoted me to GM. I use it more of a business situation. I to be honest with you, I value Datu more than Grandmaster, and we'll get into that in a moment. But if we're doing Remy Praesus Modern Arnis, it's like, so Paul Jonulus asked me once, I thought you said you weren't going to use the title Grandmaster. I go, when, as it relates to Modern Arnis, no, I don't. I won't. I would. There's a couple circumstances that I would be willing to use that title for. One of which would be the rest of the Modernist community get behind me. If we were united in that mindset saying, Tim, we want you to be the head, that's a different story. And I think if we're going to call anyone the Grandmaster in Modern Arnis, right now, that would have to be part of the community would have to stand behind this person, So currently, there's a couple of others ways that I would end up using it, but right now, that's the only one. That's the only one that way I would use it. And of course, you pass the popcorn to Rob, you too. So in Modern Arnis, only the 10th degree black belt wore the Grandmaster title, or had the title of Grandmaster. The problem I have, and once again, when it comes to Modern Arnis, I'm very upfront. I am a 6th degree black belt in Modern Arnis. That'll never change underneath Remy. When we did in our organization, I took the ninth. I didn't use the Grandmaster title. Then later, Ernesto promoted me to 9th and Grandmaster because that's what he uses in Combatant. So I was legitimately promoted to a Grandmaster in that system. So, gets another beer. So, what I have a problem with is that other people are using Ernesto Praesus standards to Remy Praesus' system. We've talked about this with the material, but let's just talk about the rank structure. Ernesto did Grandmaster at 8th and 9th degree black belt, and 10th was Great Grandmaster. That is Combatant. That is not Modern Arnis. He's had this synthesis long before he changed the name. Combatant has been around longer than when he did the branding, the rebrand. I was talking to Shelley Millsbog yesterday on this. The Double Baston program goes back to the early 80s. I don't think it was finalized to the mid or late 80s, but the four basic systems, they were being done back in the 80s, if not longer. So the promotions of Modern Arnis that came from Ernesto say, let's go post 83, 8 years after Remy left. Maybe that's even too much time. I think they were more Combatant than Remy or than Modern. But Ernesto was still using the name of Modern, and that's the big confusion. The curriculum is not the same. It is different material completely. Would you agree on that portion of what I'm saying about the different material?
For me, I agree with it, but I think it's important to say that that is a perspective that comes from, this is your perspective, and I happen to agree to a larger portion on the points you just made. But that is a perspective, right? If you have a different perspective, and I get it, here's where it can be difficult. If you're on the other side of that, you wouldn't necessarily know, right? Or feel, or even be concerned about those developments.
That's what we're butting heads with right now. People think I'm getting vibes from people by things that we're going back and forth with that I'm trying to pick on them, or I'm trying to get them out of the mix, try to disqualify them from being Modern Arnis people. And that's not the case. They're just not doing Remy's material. If you left Ernesto and you abandoned his martial system from top to bottom and then learned all of Remy's and you joined Modern Arnis and got into it, hey, by all means, I know JKD people who went into Wing Chun to try it out to look at the roots and left JKD and went all in with Wing Chun. and after time, they became top-notch Wing Chun practitioners, and people forgot about where the guy came from. They're like, oh no, he came from this, but he did his work. Okay, there you go. But when you're doing it on Remy's or Ernesto's chassis and picking and choosing the material that you like from Remy's and leaving a lot of things out, like kata's an example. You can say what you want about katas, but how much material did Remy tie into the forms?
That's how he taught you to dissect moves and start with applications and make them your own, was actually using the forms a lot.
So, and I remember the first seminar I had him here by himself. We had the room's rated for 300 people, but not swinging sticks. We ran out of room. We had 115 people at the event. We're on top of each other. We couldn't do any stick work. And like an hour after the first hour, I go to walking up to him. I go, so when are you going to teach something other than Anyo Isa? And he looks at me. No one else knows this. Like, yeah, but I want you to show me something at Delaware. So the way I would accept someone as a grandmaster in modern Ernest is if Remy promoted them. If an authority of modern Ernest could do that. But he's gone. So when I go around and all these people are claiming grandmasters, and like when I'm in the Philippines and I see all these people over there, and then now there are a bunch of people over here, I got an issue because in modern Ernest, there was only one. And the question here is this, for those who are wearing the grandmaster titles, what are you doing that merits that? To me, if you're going to wear a grandmaster title, you should have a cadre of students, a bunch of schools underneath you, traveling, getting the word out, doing seminars, doing camps, stuff of that nature. Not teaching in your garage or your basement a handful of people. Okay, listen now. Punong Ted Buat, Anchan Bakan wanted him to take over Balintawak. And the community referred to him as Grandmaster Ted Buat. Not just the students. The community acknowledged him as a Grandmaster. Okay.
Well, there's the other side of it too, right? So I was raised coming up that your Grandmaster was the top of whatever the structure was, right? Mm-hmm. That goes into the top of a pyramid is not 5 points. It's 1 point, right? So that's how I was raised. But again, I come from a Chinese background before. I also ended up doing Filipino, but then we had Remy and he was our top point. So it seemed to fit to me. So I struggle with that too.
Yeah, when I talked to the Komutan guys, prior to COVID, everybody, wow, I can't do that one. Sorry, Paige, I'm not putting that up there. Ty, you can put it there, but I'm not putting that up there.
I can't highlight stuff.
Okay. I won't do it. No. Okay, what the hell? All right. Let's just say I'm putting up here what she's writing. Okay. I hope Rob and Chris have all their popcorn and beer out.
That's right.
Listen, it's not what Remy did, and we're talking about Remy's art. And I just don't like people. I just don't like what Remy's doing. So what was it? Speak the truth.
So let's be clear on another thing too, right? So head of an organization, right, can certainly claim that because that's that single point that I'm talking about, right, at the top, doing all the things for that thing, right? You know what I'm saying?
Let's see here. That's a question we can't ask him. Remy issued the Datu titles.
Right.
So I don't know what to tell you beyond that.
So he, I can hear his voice in his head, and this is just my projection of my understanding. He would say, "I'm the Grandmaster," right? So it's very clear that he kind of looked at the Grandmaster as being in that single top point as well, at least from my interpretation.
I was talking to Comaton people prior to COVID, and they're still following Ernesto's protocols, which I said, I get it. But I said, listen, you really should think about slowing that down. I don't think 8th degree should automatically be Grandmaster. Because, the last time I was over at Dieter's, he was promoting 1 or 2 people to 8th degree black belt and Grandmaster. I'm like, you know how I feel about this? I go, if you want me to sign as a witness, I'll sign off on it. But I really I had a problem with it because they're not Grandmasters in modern Ernie's. You're putting a Comaton structure on Remy's program, and there's way too many. And that was one of the things I was talking about with the Comaton people is like, listen, we should restrict it at least. If you're going to keep doing the title thing, maybe restrict it to 1 Grandmaster per country, at least slow the roll. I mean, what's going to happen? You're going to we're oh my God. You're getting more GMs than we have students. Come on, what's the sense? I got an idea. If you're going to promote someone to Grandmaster, maybe they should produce some black belts. Quantity. Maybe they should be doing some seminars. Quantity, not one-offs. But you're talking about an organization. Let's talk about an organization. Ty, what would you define as an organization? What's some of the criteria?
Well, you'd have member schools. You would have them distributed geographically in some way, shape, or form. You would have a structure and a curriculum. You would have a governance kind of approach of some sort, right? That's sort of what I look at as for an organization. As far as Grandmaster, the other thing that I was thinking about, if you want to say master is a teacher of teachers, and I know that's not the definition, but it is sort of handy. If you were going to accept that, then a Grandmaster should be some levels of go deeper than that, right? So then that implies that you've got a history of developing people who ideally are also developing people, right? You're spreading this art. That's just one way you can also kind of think about what could a Grandmaster be doing that would matter for his Grandmaster or her Grandmastership. Heck, I'm not hardly anybody, but you know what? I have students who have students who have students. I think that's awesome. It doesn't say anything great about me, but what it does do is it says there's a continuing legacy, and that's, I think, important, and that there's a growth aspect that.
So you're carrying on. You've got 3rd generation students.
Yep.
3rd generation students. That's not what we talked about the other day. We have 3rd generation students in our organization teaching seminars now. Here in the Philippines, no rank of Datu as far as I know. Yeah, whatever.
Right. It was unique to Remy, and he decided to do it. Nobody asked him to do it.
No. It's just, So let's go down here. Let's see some things here. So you said we would need to have something. I don't know. Let me see here. See if I can get it straight. So you'd say we would need to have an organization should have schools. Oh, you mean like these North American locations right here?
Sure. So we could use examples of organizations. Yeah. I think two good examples, of organizations, and not to be partisan or anything. I think WMA fits the bill on some of what I described, and DAV certainly does too, right, for organization.
Oh, look. Oh, here's our international listings.
There you go. And ideally, you'd want to see international, but that's not a requirement, probably.
Wait a minute.
Be an organization.
Wait a minute. You also said something like, I don't know.
Curriculum.
Really? Like a written curriculum?
Yeah.
Something where each belt, there's something, so you understand where you got to go.
And everybody can see.
Go figure.
So what was the other things? Some governance type structure. which again, I think both, again, WMA and DAV have.
Let's see. It's another thing here.
I can't remember what I said. Am I supposed to remember what I say? Look, it's hard enough to just say it.
Oh, here we go. Being active out there doing stuff.
Sure. Right. Yeah. And more than just your organization, ideally.
Oh, you mean like teaching over at the symposium?
Sure.
And Renaissance Martial Arts Festival and Saratoga Martial Arts Festival.
Or even at sister organizations. I think that's important. I think that's actually for the greater Modern East family. I think that's great. Right. And I think that several people are doing that. And I think that's awesome.
All right. Let me go here. Breathe, deep depth and breath. There we go. Joe simply stated, father, grandfather, great-grandfather as generations.
Yep. So
is a generation of students and black belts to know levels.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Bo. And puts the white lantern ring. You can. It's not going to help you, buddy. I got the black ring. So, not okay. I really have a problem with people using the Modern East Grandmaster, especially if they're not doing stuff for Modern East. Like I said, let's put it this way. I have a criteria of what I would consider someone as a GM for the art of modern Arnis, and there's no one out there doing it that I would put that mantle on. But let's see here. Now it's 20 years after his death in Generation Live organizations. The problem is there's not that many organizations that are left anymore. I mean, it's almost more regional groups than it is an organization. What do you think?
I wish we had not things had not decayed. Decay is not a good word. I wish things had grown more than from where they split to than they have ended up now across the board.
Yeah.
And I think you said this. You said what's good for any of us in Modern East is good for all of us. I think that's a quote from you or something like that.
Listen, we would have been better off if we could have coexisted peacefully. Life would have been a lot better.
Absolutely. Well, that's why I was a hermit for a while, but no, let's not go there.
I just.
There you go, Chris. Yeah. Some of them have atrophied.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we hit them all the ones that we were going to planning on dealing. So, listen, Guro was a standard title that when I was around was issued out when you got your instructor's diploma. But then again, Remy may have tightened that up years later. I don't know. But generally, when you're at least a black belt, definitely you go by Guro. Punong Guro was given to two people. We use it in the organization as a master at 5th degree. The criteria of having to promote a black belt or two, actually a couple. But
based on Remy's description, largely too, right?
Right. So there we go. But I mean, that's what we do in our organization, continuing because I was one that was granted one, and Remy told me that by what he told me, others could get it. We talked about the Masters of Tappy Tappy. They're Masters of Tappy Tappy. They weren't. The title was not created to take over the system. That may have happened. The mission statement may have happened differently after he got diagnosed. And well, like I said, my opinion, the optics of what went on, there were some shenanigans going on there, and we won't even go there. Like the will that was never executed. That had a bunch of us supposed to take over, but once again, the will was never executed. So, hey, say what you want there. Datu's tribal leaders make sense that what Dieter said, that there was a good chance that the successor would have come from the Datus, but no verification on that. And of course, as being the last of the Datus, to being the last one promoted. Obviously, it would be in my best interest to support that, but I've got no data on that. I can't confirm nor deny that one. It makes sense. And then Grandmaster, I don't see anyone as the GM of Modern Ernie's now, unless there's a few things would have to happen, and one solution would be we all get behind one person. But that's just, there's a couple other criteria that I would be open to, but right now it's about, since that's not happening, because there's really no one in the authority, because since someone did put it out there, let's go with this. When it came to the will, since it was posted in Dan's book as of late, Remy's kids, none of the only Filipino that was mentioned to be part of the board was the late Roland Dantes. Remy's kids weren't part of the martial art aspect of it. None of the Filipinos were part of the martial art aspect of it. It was just Roland Dantes. Okay. So, and we're going to be wrapping things up here. So thank you. Always love the information. Always enjoy the stream. And simply stated, you're too busy looking good to promote. You've been too busy looking good and promote the art. Yeah. Are you giving me a show enough quote sort of like that? Is that what that was? Oh, wait, no, it wasn't. No, that was actually maybe a Wesley Snipes from White Man Can't Jump. I think that was it. Maybe that. Real quick, there's two events I want to talk about, and then we'll wrap this up. So the weekend of August 6th, 7th, and 8th, Tuhan Jack Latour, along with Coach Danny Terrell, will be teaching in Brockport, New York. Oh, this is killing me. I got to click on it, and I'll get rid of the brand. That's the only thing I don't like about the software. It takes a little, So they're doing a 3-day training camp. Go to ptiacademy@gmail.com. Tuhan Jack has that information, or you can go to pakiti.com. I don't know enough about Coach Danny, but I will say this. Tuhan Jack is one of my favorite Pakiti people, not just because I like him, because he's that damn talented. And Coach Danny is a great guy, awesome, very down to earth, and very focused on keeping it real. Chad and myself will be there participating. We're not anything but just going through and enjoying. Yeah, if I got that, I know that weekend I have my Panantukan, the last of the 4 modules, but I am going to see if I can stop by and at least visit. And then the 27th through 29th of August is the Remy Price's Memorial Camp here in Buffalo, New York. Would love to see people here. Our restrictions of occupancy have been lifted, and people who are vaccinated don't have to wear a mask. That's all I can say right now about that. So, Jim Kelly, Enter the Dragon. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have known better. And I should correct it's Mataas Naguro Danny now. I am working on. I'm definitely thinking about opening it up to more people. I got to wait to find out. Yeah, I want to, Chris. I really do. And I might just do a later division in the afternoon for the experienced people, otherwise known as us old guys. Okay. Next week, I've got an idea for a topic, unless someone chimes in and wants to join us. And listen, you know what? If anyone wants to join us, I don't give a damn. You can come on and join us. Experience. That's another one. Anyone out there who would like to be part of next week's show, just chime in. What do you think, Ty? How about we talk about because unless I'm not going to be able to get the film done, I'm waiting for Carl. We're going to be doing a Tappy episode. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to do a short couple-minute video on this, but I got to get Carl here to break it down, what Tappy was and what it evolved to, because there's a big misunderstanding of the two, and I want to break it down step by step, do like a 2 to 3 minute video of it and talk it, break it, and boom. But what I'm thinking maybe next week, how about we talk about seminar, how Remy got the system out there in a non-internet era. Seminars, camps, how he did what he did. What do you think? Unless you got a better topic.
No, I mean that's good, and it's also good because you haven't done a FMA professional one for a while, so that would actually pertain to cover a little bit of that ground too. So that would be interesting, I think.
I will be getting FMA professionals back up. Actually, we're going to be doing a 5-day course for those who are interested in taking the course. It's open to more than people than just Filipino martial artists, but obviously, I'm gearing this for our community really needs to get out more. Actually, next month there's going to be an FMA discussion episode just on professional schools, and I'll be one of 3 schools there for full-time FMA schools. How's that? 3 of us.
There you go. We got a volunteer already.
Joe, do you want to be on the show next week? Are you free next week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time?
And he's been to Remy seminars and camps, so he would know as well.
I'm waiting, Joe. Come on. I know there's a delay, but it's not. Chris Davison says, bam. Come on. And wait for it.
There we go.
Boom. Done.
All right.
First guest. All right. Don't make me regret this, Joe Rebello. All right. I got an idea. Joe, what area are you in? What officially is the what officially is your residence? What's I know this lag sucks. Oh, is that him writing something? Yeah, I don't give a damn about it. Yes, I want to know where you're located.
I wish I knew. Let's see. Thanks, Chris.
All right, Chris. Okay, so we'll have Joe on next week, and his area is New Bedford, Massachusetts. So we'll also talk about modern East development in your area. There we go.
There you
We'll
go.
talk about seminars and how he affected your, who was whom in the zoo, and we'll go from there.
So
all right, Joe Rebello, guest next week.
Good deal.
All right, everybody. As usual, please, everybody, stay safe and stay sane. And I got to take that comment off because I can just do it here. And I'm getting ready. Oh, what's this? Great show. Thanks. Yeah, we gotta, slow it down just a wee.
Thanks, Rob. Good night.
All right, everybody. This is Datu Tim's and Datu Tim and
PG Tie
saying thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.
There you go.